Welcome to our panel on transformation of Oracle Enterprise apps into intelligent enterprise with Oracle Cloud. Today, most enterprises rely on Oracle technologies, whether it's Oracle Database, Oracle applications such as eBusiness Suite, JD Edwards, and PeopleSoft. Oracle lies at the heart of enterprise IT. Historically, many organizations have been running these applications in traditional data centers or colos. However, the pressure to reduce CapEx and keep up with changing technologies has encouraged organizations to explore cloud solutions. But the need to maintain performance, application customization, and workflows poses a significant challenge in adopting public cloud for critical workloads. Many of these workloads can be replaced by software as a service without sacrificing one or more of the requirements. The cloud-first strategy adopted by many organizations today typically starts with migrating applications to infrastructure as a service and possibly combine these services with PaaS solutions as well. This essentially represents rehosting driven by reduction in cost and improved scalability. However, it is the cloud-native capabilities that can be leveraged beyond IaaS and PaaS, such as RPA, AI, and ML, that deliver true strategic value. Incorporating these applications and capabilities in cloud results in intelligent digital enterprise. This is where data meets automation and automation meets intelligence. As companies began to adopt cloud solutions, some workloads moved quickly and easily, demonstrating the elasticity and agility of cloud. But that wasn't true for all workloads. Many companies found it difficult to move core business applications, which presented additional challenges, and the tight requirements around predictability and performance, security and control also limited quick migrations. Oracle can help by running Oracle applications with high levels of performance, scalability, and security, while providing the agility and economies of scale that is expected of public cloud infrastructure. Right? Today, we have four very special guests joining us on this panel, discussing the reasons why they chose to migrate the Oracle applications to Oracle Cloud and the strategic value they can expect to gain post-migration. First up is Chris Fox, Group Vice President for Oracle Apps to Oracle Cloud Engineering. He also oversees delivery and migration of applications to OCI. Chris is an OCI evangelist, spearheading teams that lead architecture and product management at customer sites, and also help customers across North America move and improve the entire Oracle stack to OCI. Chris, thank you. First up is Chris Fox, Group Vice President for Oracle Apps to Oracle Cloud Engineering. He also oversees delivery and migration of applications to OCI. Chris is an OCI evangelist, spearheading teams that lead architecture and product management at customer sites, and also help customers across North America move and improve the entire Oracle stack to OCI. Chris, thank you for joining us this morning. So Chris, as we know, most of the organizations that we are seeing migrate to cloud today realize the need to move their package applications to cloud as well. Given your role within Oracle and Oracle's role in the cloud industry, can you tell us a little bit about how Oracle has aligned its OCI, IaaS, and PaaS services in support of these migrations to OCI?
So Oracle has taken a look at our packaged applications that we've run on premises for a number of years. And when we started our design of the Gen 2 cloud, the most important thing we thought we could do that the other cloud providers were not doing was to build a cloud that specifically ran enterprise class workloads. And when I mean enterprise class, I mean these are the big applications that are tier 1, sometimes tier 0 applications. They require really stringent SLA. They require a cloud that really knows and really appreciates data center reliability. And also, they've got to be able to scale to handle the monoliths. And that's a real big key that we see from our IaaS and PaaS offerings. When we started our Gen 2 cloud, we said, this is the type of application we need to run. Maybe it's eBusiness Suite for a manufacturer that at the end of the day can never go down, needs reliability, performance, and scale. So not only did we build our IaaS tier for that capability, most importantly, we added the PaaS tier for things like maybe Exadata Cloud Service. And when we built Exadata Cloud Service, it had the capabilities such as RAC, which is incredibly important to our customers. No one else offers RAC. Not only was it going to offer RAC at scale, it was going to offer automation. And this was the real big key to us. We don't believe lift and shifts work. We actually believe that you should move to the cloud, you should improve the application and the runtime. And honestly, that's the only way to really drive down cost, boost scale and reliability, and do it with far, far less cost and far more predictability. And that's the way we design the cloud, especially our PaaS and our IaaS tiers.
The second part of the question, Chris, is most organizations have disparate IT systems like cloud native applications, traditional and legacy applications, and SaaS applications. They have a combination of these capabilities. How does your organization support customers in integrating these different capabilities across cloud, in developing architectures, and help them move to cloud more holistically and uniformly?
Sure, that's a great question. And it's the question that I feel we at Oracle really have embraced from the start. And what do I mean by that? So most customers have an awful lot of systems that have been running their business for a number of years. They've served us well, but they need to be modernized. So the question becomes, how? How can we modernize them based on cost, based on risk, based on their needs for new capabilities? So with Oracle, one of the things that we're doing that no other cloud can claim at this point is allowing you a journey from an application that you may have written years ago, and you want to take that application to the cloud. And if you were to take it to the cloud, we need to be able to reduce the cost. And not only that, have it run reliably. In this case, we could be talking about a move and improve that application at any size and scale to the Oracle Cloud. Now, if this application was a packaged application, Oracle is the only cloud provider right now providing a full suite of SaaS applications. We see customers moving their applications to SaaS every day. We also see a hybrid model that's very much emerging, where we move the older package application to the cloud and we modernize to SaaS over time. That could be a year, it could be 5 years, it could be a 10-year journey. We'll help you along the way. And the key there is that architecturally, this is the most important part, architecturally, the cloud already supports it, and there's no one else who can do this. Now, if that application was a packaged application, that's great for SaaS. However, if it was a custom application, those monoliths really were designed at a different time and a different place. We need to help customers modernize that monolith and use new cloud native services. Those cloud native services can run alongside the custom application. This is so key. We see a lot of customers who struggle because the size and scale of the monolith won't allow it to go to cloud. With Oracle, we can handle that monolith at size and scale, bring it to the cloud, help you reduce the cost, and number two, run it side by side with a new cloud native application. This would have a new cloud native CI/CD pipeline. It could run on Kubernetes and containers. It could have full instrumentation. And ultimately, you slowly decompose the monolith over time. And so all three architectures run simultaneously. You could have the packaged app in the middle. You could have a custom app that runs side by side, the monolith with microservices alongside. Or you could be deploying SaaS, or frankly, what we're starting to see is all of them running on the Oracle Cloud simultaneously and in the same tenancy. So from an architect standpoint, it's the ultimate freedom of choice. The question is, which is the right path for your future?
The next part, Chris, is as our customers embrace this journey and transformation to cloud, how can they benefit from the partnership that your organization has with organizations like Soneratech? One, in defining the strategy in moving to cloud, and two, equally important, in being able to execute on it.
Great question. What we see today is the journeys that customers are on to it, maybe digital transformation. It may be something as simple and tactical as just beginning the journey with something like moving and modernizing a set of applications. The key really between Oracle and working with partners, especially Cineratech, is that we have seen this at any size and any scale. We've also seen it across industries in many different verticals. And what our partnership really allows is to really help and guide the customer of the different options available, which one is the right one. Each customer brings their own concerns and their own set of capabilities. And frankly, their industry is demanding that they deliver certain experiences, perhaps for their customers, or the obviously idea of reducing cost. So between my team and the Cineratech team, the most important thing that I see is we bring our experiences to the table. We listen to the customers and what their challenges are and what they need to achieve, and especially in what time frame. And using the combination of our technologies and Cineratech's expertise across so many customers and delivering so many great outcomes for those customers, we arrive at the best solution. And not only is it the best solution for today, most times these are a journey. So that's the real key, is that really balancing risk, cost, and capability over a long period of time, which usually is separated into a series of very rapid sprints so that we can check our progress along the way and we can deliver value immediately and over the long haul.
Chris, thank you. That was very insightful. Next up on our panel is Randy Martin, Director of Corporate Systems at Atkins Global. Randy is a versatile leader with more than 30 years of experience in implementing and managing Oracle e-business, CRM, data warehouses, and many other applications built around ERP. With his vision towards digitalization, he has transformed, maintained, and supported applications using automation and cloud deployments. Randy has tremendous experience in extracting maximum value off of existing systems and great returns on new investments. Welcome, Randy, and thank you for. Randy, you spearheaded the move to cloud for Atkins' EBS environment. While Atkins had some presence in cloud, this is the first major adoption of cloud. Can you tell us a little bit about Atkins and what the primary drivers were when you considered cloud as an alternative to traditional hosting? And as a follow-up, what drove the decision on which cloud to adopt?
Sure, and thanks for having me here today. Atkins is a global engineering and design consultancy based out of London and a member of the SNC-Lavalin Company, and with over $1 billion in revenue. We're among the largest global design firms with customers across aerospace, energy, healthcare, roads, and bridges. Pretty much the infrastructure that it takes to run a city or a state or a country. We have over 300 offices across 29 countries. And like many organizations, we've built up quite a bit of technical debt in the last decade. The organization and its efforts to reduce cost over time had allowed our infrastructure to age, and we were reaching a critical point where decisions needed to be made about the escalating costs to maintain on-premise infrastructure and both hardware, data center cost, and internal resource challenges retaining the skilled labor necessary to run all that. Having said that, we were quite happy with Oracle e-Business Suite and had delayed any move to cloud ERP, and so the logical step had emerged to move our EBS infrastructure into the cloud. Cineratech was instrumental in helping us evaluate various options in terms of public cloud vendors, and in the end, Oracle OCI was selected as it provided the best overall value for performance. Cineratech also had helped evaluate the additional aspect of our cloud move to upgrade our EBS application to the latest application and database versions. And in the end, we'll have a fully modern infrastructure, application, and database, which will be more sustainable and scalable as our business grows. And very importantly, we'll have a technology stack that is fully supported.
Randy, now that you're some ways into this adoption of cloud as you migrate your EBS to OCI, how has the experience been compared to where you expected it to be? Has it reinforced your decision that was made earlier this year and garnered more support to migrate more applications to cloud? And finally, do you believe that all the original goals that were set earlier this year will be met post-completion?
We're now several months down the road and have been very pleased with the speed at which our move to cloud has progressed. And we feel even stronger about our decision as we've experienced already some of the benefits of quickly scalable down compute and storage capacity as requirements have been fine-tuned. So this gives us even more confidence that our future requirements will be easily met with far less effort and cost. And in the end, we're meeting our original goals, which were to reduce the risk to the organization by moving critical infrastructure to a more resilient, adaptable, and scalable platform. Everything in our experience so far has reinforced that belief. The reduction of RPO timeframes in the event of a disaster recovery situation. We've also reduced the reliance on key potential points of failure within our physical infrastructure. We've reduced the exposure to loss of key resources we'd experienced in the months leading up to our decision when we lost our longtime Oracle DBA. We're enabling easier migration path ultimately towards cloud ERP in the future. And then finally, eliminating the risk of keeping up with infrastructure and desktop technology. In addition, we have a roadmap to increase automation across IT and business processes post-completion of this migration. We also plan on increasing our cloud adoption in the coming year as more business applications are migrated. And of course, each project will be evaluated before we determine how best to execute.
Randy, that was really helpful and insightful, and appreciate your participation on today's panel. Our next guest is Suhail Barkat from Arthur J. Gallagher. Arthur J. Gallagher is a Fortune 500 company and a global leader in insurance, risk management, and consulting services. It provides client-centric risk management solutions and has global presence with over 30,000 employees across 150 countries. Suhail is the Vice President of HRIS at AJ Gallagher. He's an accomplished, innovative, senior-level executive with diverse expertise in establishing and operating global IT organizations across many industries. Suhail has deep experience in change management, managing ERPs and BI tools, including Oracle E-Business Suite, PeopleSoft, SAP, Hyperion, and Business Objects. Suhail, it's a pleasure to have you on the panel, and thank you for joining. Suhail, your cloud journey began sometime back with the adoption of SaaS solutions, but more recently, you've led the effort at AJ Gallagher to migrate Oracle E-Business Suite from the legacy environment in the traditional data center to cloud. This time around, you adopted for an IaaS solution rather than SaaS. What were the key drivers and the factors that helped you decide whether to adopt IaaS or SaaS? What helped you put the business case together? And then finally, given that AJ Gallagher is in the insurance business, what are some of the mandates that you need to comply with and that were factored into this decision?
Oh, great question. Thank you, Srini, for having me here on the panel today. And I want to thank all the other panelists that are joining us today in helping answer some of these questions on the format that we have for this engagement. So as far as IaaS versus SaaS or software as a service, the reason we chose that is that we currently have our EBS platform, which houses Australia, New Zealand, and the Caribbean, specifically on a on-site hosting kind of provider component. And there's a few reasons that we justified, not only from a cost perspective. Of course, cost is always important to help reduce cost when we're doing something like this, but we also looked at the security component for IaaS, as well as other components that help us in the cloud from an access perspective, from a performance perspective, and from a processing perspective. We're having challenges in our current environment when we did have a network issue within Gallagher. So if someone could not sign into Gallagher's network, they could not get to the system. So from a cloud perspective, the ROI was, and the business case was pretty straightforward as far as making it available to our employees and our processors, HR processors, 24/7. Security was a question that was easily answered with the ROI business case, as well as the cost reduction component of moving it to the cloud. why didn't we move it to software as a service? Well, some of these countries and some of the software vendors that we have out there do not provide software as a service for, say, payroll in those countries, right? So they're still a little behind, lagging behind in getting payroll up and running in those companies in software as a service. So we wanted to, and we made a decision with our eyes, kind of going into this, that it's going to take some time for our software vendors to catch up for those countries in those functional areas. So we were going to stay on the platform we're on currently, but we were looking for a lower cost point and a better place to host it. And that's why we chose to migrate it to an IaaS environment and leverage, our current feature functionality that we have. We did, have to review a lot of variations of components, the database layer, the middle layer, as well as the application layer on exactly what we're going to do and take advantage of this migration to the IaaS and how we're going to do that and which tools we're going to use, which partner we're going to use. We have to go through a process of defining that.
Safal, thank you. That was very insightful and helpful. Appreciate your expertise in this industry and certainly the leadership you have been demonstrating over the years. Our next question, Safal, is, I know the whole idea of choosing OCI was to utilize the inherent features of OCI, including database cloud service. Can you talk about the benefits and value generated by migrating to OCI?
Yes.
Thank you, Srini, for that question. Appreciate the follow-up. Yes. From a OCI perspective, that's the tool and the software provider we chose was Oracle as an infrastructure to migrate our applications to. A few of the reasons we chose that platform, again, was dynamic access to our EBS system from Australia, New Zealand, as well as from the Caribbean. 24/7 access for all of us, authentication and security being a key factor in ensuring that works properly. After the migration will also be a very leverageable asset to ensure that our applications are secure and authentication and everything else is happening securely, as well as performance. Connecting from Australia, New Zealand, and the Caribbean is getting easier nowadays with technology and being able to ensure that the latency is as low as possible. But Oracle has come up with a lot of good technologies and working with Soneratech that we're going to implement some of these components when we go to OCI. Things like Fast Connect and using some of these tools that Oracle brings to bear on the table, and ensuring that we leverage those components to kind of see our ROI come to fruition, as well as our cost reduction and business case. The different levels of support that we also get from OCI is very appreciated coming in from Oracle and from Soneratech. So we now have database level support with SLAs, we have middleware, we have application level support, where we can actually manage and control it better without any concerns or issues with the right skill sets, and making sure that things get taken care of in a timely manner. So OCI brought us a lot of flexibility as far as being able to not only manage the services, but also to help us kind of take a hands-off approach to ensuring that we are focusing on more of the business processes and the change management components from a Gallagher perspective, rather than the technology, and giving the technologists with the right skill sets from Soneratech and Oracle the access that they needed to ensure that they could support us and keep things up and running and operational, what they call, keeping the lights on. So I think overall it's coming out to be a great move for us, and we will, over the next 2-3 years see come cost savings substantially, as well as some of the resources that will switch over to managing the database, upgrading the database, upgrading the application, applying patches. All of that will have an impact as far as the next 2-3 years are concerned, and ensuring that we do that properly. So hopefully that helps. Thank you, Srini.
Thank you very much. That really demonstrated your expertise in the industry, and really helps our audience understand more about the decisions that are required to be made as organizations migrate to OCI. Thank you. Our next question, Safel, is migrating to cloud is not a small project. A ton of preparation and effort goes into it. Could you explain the kind of preparation, the decisions that you had to make, some of the challenges you faced, and how you mitigated these challenges as you proceeded with the execution decision-making phase?
Yeah. So from a decision-making phase, getting into a project phase, we focused on, and we knew going in that the biggest component of the going to the cloud is going to be around change management. So change management was the focus area from kicking off the project initially, coming up with the game plan of what we're going to implement, which functions or let's say modules we're going to implement, and which ones will be absorbed by our employees and by our organization as quickly as possible, get a success in. So we phased the implementation over 2-3 phases, and ensure that we understood exactly how we were going to proceed with change management. So we had a small change management team, not only from the partner, but also from Gallagher, that worked together in ensuring that everyone understood how it was going to impact the employees, what process changes, because we took this opportunity to do a lot of business process changes and standardize and globalize our let's say nomenclature as well as our business processes. So that worked to our advantage, involving a lot of employees in helping us come up with the best processes and actually being our, let's say, champions for communication, as well as getting the word out there on how much better the cloud processes will make our processes more efficient and free them up to do other more critical components within their business units versus focusing on how to get manual documents, pushed here or there. So a lot of automation has been placed into the cloud system, and we've done a lot of let's say removal and re-engineering of our processes, and a lot of change management occurred due to that. And at this point in time, the teams are very happy with what we've implemented in the SaaS cloud model, and the partner was very successful in working with us in making that happen. So hopefully that helps Srini in understanding how we approached it. So we focused on change management, then the project management component, the proper planning of the phase approaches, and then the actual execution occurred with the proper testing and getting champions globally on board from the various countries to ensure they communicated to their employees in their countries, specifically on the great value that they're seeing with our new systems in the cloud.
Thank you very much. Obviously, you and your team have put in a lot of effort into this plan, and all the best for the execution on the plan. So for the next question is, if you were to summarize and advise our customers, all the folks watching this summit over the next 2 days, what are the 3 most important things to bring out that customers and organizations need to keep in mind as they plan their own migration to OCI?
No, thank you, Srini, for that question. For migrating from on-premise to OCI, I think the biggest consideration that companies should consider is the value proposition going to an OCI from on-premise. So the components that I leverage were around hardware refreshes, costs related to migrating from server to server, every 4 or 5 years, depending on when it took, the risk involved in doing so, versus coming to an OCI type model where that is no longer required, and that is all on the partner, in this case Oracle, to manage and swap hardware in and out, as well as performing refreshes. So from an organization perspective, make sure you take into consideration all the components that you have in your current data centers and the costs related to those in managing that environment versus kind of putting it into a IaaS model or an OCI model where those resources are no longer required. we continued to have to manage not only the application, but the data center layer as well when we were, on premise and in-house. But once we got it, to the cloud, and once we get it to the cloud in OCI, all of that kind of goes away. So we're reevaluating our resource requirements, and from a business case perspective, we took all that into consideration. I think companies should always take a full, cost model into consideration from a data center perspective when they're migrating to OCI. And then the advantages, so there's some things that are kind of apples to apples, and you see a cost reduction going from a process, within your data centers and going to OCI. And then some things are, let's say, low-hanging fruit that you didn't have in the past, going to OCI and going to an IaaS model. So you have to take both of those into consideration. So some of the low-hanging fruits are components around, things that you take for granted in a data center that you manage, which, might be your electrical bill, or things like that might get reduced, your AC units, and those components all go away. But the biggest component that we'd like to take leverage of when we migrate to the cloud is making sure we have good SLAs in place to manage it going forward, ensure that we have 24/7 support, and that the system stays up and running at all times without any failures. So 24/7 is what I think most organizations are now requiring, because they're, especially global, organizations. So we need to make sure that our systems stay up and running 24/7 for our critical processes to get completed, and information to be changed for our employees. So that's very unique to us. So what I would recommend is organizations do a good, thorough job up front on a TCO, on ROI, and ensure that they understand the variations that they have in migrating to an OCI. And it is pretty much a slam dunk case in most of the times I've done this. I've done it a few times at previous lives, as well as now at Gallagher. So looking forward to completing this process to migration to OCI, and making sure that we are taking advantage of the TCO and the advantages of the services that we have coming to take care of the operational side and keep the lights on. Hopefully that helps, Srini.
Our next guest is Amin Shada from SNC-Lavalin Group. SNC-Lavalin is a Canadian-based company in Montreal that provides engineering, procurement, and construction services to industries including mining, metallurgy, oil and gas, and power. It is the world's largest construction company with 50,000 employees across 50 countries. Amin is the Director of IT, Finance, and Application Delivery. He has over 20 years of experience in IT, finance, shared services, and human resources. Amin is seasoned in building in-house ERP applications and implementing them. He has expertise in Oracle EBS, SAP, including the integrations with Hyperion and OSC. Amin, thank you for joining us this morning. Really appreciate you being on the panel. Amin, SNC is driving a major migration to cloud, moving all its EBS from on-premise to OCI. What are the factors driving this decision, and what are some of the challenges that you expect, and what are unique to your environment?
2018 and 2017, SNC went into a transition to either go to ERP cloud or do an upgrade on premise. And back then, the solution of OCI was not that mature. So we decided, after various discussions with Oracle, to not go to the ERP cloud, because it wasn't ready to host a complex requirement like what we have in engineering. Construction engineering. So what happened is that we decided to go to 12/7. And back then, the decision was to keep it on premise. Due to some raise of concern of data security and not available in Montreal, etc. And now we are due for the upgrade. So in 2019, the whole project was on hold. And now we are due to an upgrade from 12.1.3, which is our current platform. And we decided to go to 12.2.9 with cloud infrastructure. And we also don't want to go through ERP Cloud due to the fact that we have to go through whole conversion and a lot of changes for users. It's very difficult to bring people who's been using Oracle for 10 years and tell them now, by the way, you're moving to Oracle Cloud. It's a better, let's say, user interface, but in the end, it's almost same functionalities, but you lost all your historical data. So the decision was made to go to cloud infrastructure to benefit from the latest of Exadata and all the technologies that is offered as through cloud infrastructure. And of course, all the latest database for 19c or whatever is coming, and all the WebLogic and all the concept of middle tier that had been massively enhanced.
Thank you, that's really helpful. The next question, is, given that there are multiple cloud vendors today, what were the criteria used when you selected OCI over the other options that were available in moving your EBS?
We picked Oracle Cloud versus any other provider because from our standpoint, EBS is more compatible with the Oracle structure and platform. And we wanted to keep on the latest Oracle offering from patching solution and security that is provided with this hosting or solutions that they are offering, from KPI to monitor.
Thank you, that was really helpful. The next part, is migrating cloud IaaS is the first step or first few steps of a major journey. What are your views on how this will help evolve the overarching IT portfolio at SNC-Lavalin as you go through this migration and look beyond EBS?
Other reason we want to migrate to Oracle Cloud is also to benefit from all the various ecosystems that is being offered from autonomous data warehouse and the connectivity of Oracle Analytics with this platform. We are also intending on adopting all the security or identity management that comes with Oracle Cloud infrastructure. We are hoping to definitely benefit from all the tweaking for the database and all the performance that are offered with the solution. Also, we are hoping to use or activate additional module that we didn't have on 12.1.3 or on-premise, from online timesheet or mobile timesheet, mobile expense report, more activate the whole mobile solution, plus the discovery suite that we are hoping it will be working with boosted performance on this Oracle 12.2.9 on Exadata platform. Also, since we are heavy user for project module, we are hoping that the project management module will be massively enhanced due to the fact that currently it's very slow to be used on-premise, and due to the fact that on 12.2.9 it became more as a queue concept, and of course you need a big machine behind it to support that. So we're looking forward for this journey, which is going to be split into a few phases. First, lifting and shifting, and then activating all the additional module where we think that this cloud infrastructure will give great benefits in order to be able to activate them or use them.
Once again, thank you to all our panelists for joining us this morning and providing their valuable insights and experiences as they progress through their migration to cloud. We hope our viewers can appreciate this information, the complexities, and the ways to mitigate the challenges that one can expect as they plan the strategy for their own migrations to cloud. Appreciate that. Moving on to the overall objective of this panel, which is delivering an intelligent cloud platform, partnered with Oracle to come up with a self-funded business transformation with Oracle Cloud. As you can see, you have your typical applications that are on-premise or in a data center in a colo, and the OpEx is considerably high in managing these applications, both from a support perspective, a data center facilities perspective, and from a hardware perspective. By moving these applications to cloud, we have seen customers reduce their OpEx by up to 25%. This is by purely migrating applications, Oracle applications to OCI. And with zero cost cloud migration, we can defer any cloud bubble or migration bubble that can be hit during this migration. But even past just migrating to OCI and IaaS, by leveraging capabilities for automating your testing and application lifecycle management, customers have seen up to 15% reduction in their processing and additional 15% reduction OpEx as well. Beyond IT OpEx efficiencies, we'll look at business process. By leveraging RPA and chatbots, organizations have made their business processes more efficient, reducing OpEx by a further 20%. Overall, as you go from left to right, as you go from migrating to OCI to being able to leverage RPA and next generation chatbots, you're looking at a savings of 50% or more. At this point, the organization has saved enough in the OpEx to fund future initiatives as they go digital. Once you have achieved the basic capabilities on the path to digitalization, you can leverage products to support your IoT, depending on which business you're in, if supply chain is critical. We got digital loyalty products that support retailers and marketing organizations. And of course, digital insights and data analytics for all organizations as they complete their digital transformation. It's the combination of moving systems to cloud, adding on top of it the layer of automation, business process automation, and then leveraging digital capabilities, the cloud truly becomes intelligent. Once again, thank you to all our panelists for joining us this morning and providing their valuable insights and experiences as they progress through their migration to cloud. We hope our viewers can appreciate this information, the complexities, and the ways to mitigate the challenges that one can expect as they plan the strategy for their own migrations to cloud. Thank you.